Hello and welcome to the Voices of Angst, our final episode for 2013. Next time you'll be watching us, it'll be 2014, the start of a brand new year. I'm Chris.
I'm Amber.
I'm Liam.
I'm Mikhail.
And today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about transportation, and more specifically, public transportation. We all, I think, have had some interesting public transit experiences and stories that we'd be more than willing to share with the rest of the world. Who wants to start things off?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I gotta pick the right story here.
Well, I've got a lot of these.
I got one example.
Okay.
Yeah, I was waiting for the number 6, even though, okay, yes, I know it's...
For those that don't live in Victoria, the number 6 bus is like one of the major bus routes that goes between our downtown core and suburbia, and has a lot of... It goes down one of the major arteries connecting the two.
It's basically a fairly active bus. However, this is a problem that can be applicable to probably every bus within the BC transit system.
In Victoria,
okay, I was sitting there
regional
waiting for the
transit
bus. I look at the thing. Okay, my little MP3 player says 9:45 a.m. Okay, and then check the bus thing. It says 9:46. I'm waiting. I check 9:47. The bus doesn't show up. I'm like, screw that. I'm gonna walk. It's not that long of a distance. I'll walk it home. So I
3
did,
seconds
and
later,
no
the
bus
passes you. Okay.
I was expecting it to. This time it didn't show up at all, but that was because, okay, I'm looking
But
at the conditions. It's early morning, it's Christmas.
That's a common characteristic
24th, yeah.
of the number 6, is that it just won't show up.
Or it'll show up really early all at the same time. Like this.
Like there'll be 5 buses. There'll be one bus that's late, one bus that's on time, and one bus that's early, and they'll all be
or you'll
within
just
2
get
car
the
lengths
bus
of each other.
that's early and the bus that's late, and that's it. And yeah, like, what's the point of having time things if they're not even going to...
Exactly.
They're not even going to be close half the time.
Yeah, the 60's just as bad. It's pretty awful. And it only runs once an hour, sometimes hour and a half.
Yeah, some of the buses, they work by half-hour intervals, so you just gotta kind of plan your schedule around that.
Some
You hope
work
it
by
works out.
hour intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think
My
there's
favorite is the
there's
number 80. North Saanich has terrible bus service. There's one bus for North Saanich. It's the 83. It's a short bus, a community bus, and it runs, I think, 4 times a day.
The one that bothered me...
In like 3-hour intervals.
The one that really bothered me was the bus from where I live to the university runs
The 51?
4 times a day. The 51 runs 4 times a day. Those
And when it
times
runs, that's an
are-
awesome bus route.
Yeah, it's perfect. Unfortunately, it runs at 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, and 5 at night. My
So-
classes started at 10 and went till about 3:30. These buses were completely useless for me. I had to take 3 buses, and it took me about an hour and a half to get to university. So, I mean, I wasn't leaving that much later, but it was like a half-hour difference. They couldn't just have an extra bus. And also, the other thing about university buses here that really, really bothers me,
Everybody takes it.
no, they don't run on class schedules. They run on the bus decided this is a good
Yeah.
time for the bus to go. Class got out 10 minutes after that bus left, but whatever, the bus didn't care.
Yeah.
And then you're waiting 40 minutes for
Yeah.
the
And
next
then,
bus. Especially
meanwhile,
if
the
it's
next
evening
class is let out,
classes.
and there's now 2 class worth of
Huge
people
line.
trying to get on the bus.
Yeah, yeah,
One
and-
bus.
And people get left behind.
And this morning, okay, I understand, it's, it's whatever Christmas, so the buses are going to be empty in general, but there's this particular bus, it's supposed to follow the Cedar High School kids' route, so it goes all over the place, it's kind of a convenient bus for university students because it goes to UVic. Anyway, this bus is still running, even though, if memory serves me right, school is hypothetically closed.
But,
High
I mean,
schools are
They
like
don't.
not
They don't want to
open.
adjust the schedule for 2 weeks and then set it back, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like that bus could go to another route that is busier.
But that would require planning.
But then the
That
other
would
thing is
require
the people
common
who are
sense.
waiting for that bus to go to work or a friend's house or any other reason they might take
But
the
I was
bus.
the only one on that bus.
Okay, Mikhail, you can
Yeah.
take stories like that and say I was the only person on that bus, and you can bear in mind I used to take a bus that only ran to my little community when I lived in Vancouver. I used to take the 214, and that would run until a certain time of day.
And then it would stop,
And then it would
you'd
just
have
stop.
to walk up a hill.
Yeah, exactly. And there were a lot of occasions where I would be on that bus just completely alone. And the fact of the matter is that bus still had to run that route, or I wasn't gonna get home.
Well, you just
And
have to walk.
F1.
All right.
But yeah, exactly.
The other thing. Sorry.
No.
Continue.
Yeah. Well, actually, The only thing I was going to get to afterward is the bus that runs from the ferry.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah,
6:15.
6:20.
The 620 in
6:20.
Vancouver, and on this end, I think it's like the 72 or something like that. I don't remember.
There's the 71,
70,
72, 75.
Okay, well, the point I'm going to get at
Doesn't
is
run to the ferry.
on the
Goes down
Vancouver
bay.
Which
side.
one's the
right?
express then?
70X.
Oh, okay.
Well, on the Vancouver side, you got to catch the 620. There's two kinds of 620 you can
There's
catch.
the express and then the one that goes
and the
through
one that goes
Ladner
through Ladner Exchange.
Yeah.
Neither one of those is a bad bus to get because they get to the Federal.
No, they actually
The thing that
seem to
really
run
annoyed
pretty
me
damn
about-
well.
The thing that always annoyed me about the express is it left 15 minutes earlier than the regular bus.
Yeah, why wouldn't
and
it
gets
leave
you
later?
there faster.
Yeah,
why
why
would it not?
wouldn't it leave later and get you there at the same time?
Exactly, but
Exactly.
it doesn't
The
work out that
only-
way.
The only bus to catch a ferry is either an hour and 15 minutes before your ferry or an hour before the ferry. There's nothing later.
Yeah.
If you are there an hour and or 58 minutes before the ferry, you're going to miss that ferry because there is no bus that's going to come for another 45 minutes. And then you're waiting, maybe not even for an hour, because the expresses are really irregular and don't make sense.
I think a common theme we're noticing is public transit's inability to integrate with external schedules,
Yeah.
be it
Christmas
school
is crazy.
schedules or be it other transportation networks like the ferry system.
I definitely feel like I never got to the end of my story here, but
Oh.
just sort of.
Yep.
You watch the
Oh,
620
muffin.
go, right?
Mhm.
And that bus runs once, well,
Once
actually
an hour.
it'll run once an hour, but the express will run occasionally on the quarter hour from that. So you have 15 minutes between the 620 and
Yeah.
the 620 express.
But the express is 15 minutes before.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter when it comes. The fact of the matter remains is it still gets really obnoxious. But it's when you get to the other side, right? You do, so assuming you do catch the red 620, and you get to the ferry on time to catch the boat, and you take the ferry to the other side, the bus there will sit
And wait.
for almost an hour sometimes.
It's
Just
never
sit
been
there.
That long.
And
Oh, I've been on
it'll
one
be
that
full
long.
of people who got off the ferry and they want to go home or to their
And it
hotel
doesn't
or
go.
whatever.
It doesn't
And
go.
another
And
bus
they're
won't
just
come.
chilling there. Yeah.
No,
Again, it's the inability of them to integrate with other
You're
scheduling.
right, it's entirely correct. And you're just like, well, you're there because of this thing.
Mhm.
Can you figure your shit out, please?
Yeah.
That's
And,
the thing on top
and,
of
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
some
right.
of the buses, like the 26, they're very frequent during the morning. But then as the evening, when there's a lot of evening classes, you know, even you get that
Or
class
you
from
wanna go
6:30
home.
9:20, it's like, yeah, I want to get home. I don't want to walk an hour through the dark streets and get hit
I hated
by
buses. I always hated buses. I
cars
always
or
will hate buses.
eaten by
That's why I have a car
raccoons
now.
or pestered by street people. But no, the buses slow down. And it's like, they
And they don't seem to pick up enough for the evening rush hour, like around 5 o'clock. They don't.
Nope.
pick
Yeah, like there's hardly any buses there, and then you're late for your evening class or whatever because it's like, oh, the bus driver decided to, you know, take
Not
his
have
time.
a bus.
Yeah,
Trying
and have
to
dinner.
get transportation.
It's
from-
like the BC Transit, especially in Victoria, wants
Climate,
to
just
go
talk
for
over
the
me.
schedule
Huh?
for senior
No, I wasn't gonna
demographics
say-
without even understanding the other
Everyone
demographics. Yeah, like it's like they're okay. Yeah, the seniors. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Doesn't mean they're gonna be, you know.
The only
Bus
customers.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the bus
Another
people are the
thing-
people that can't afford cars or screw parking.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
more
Oh,
expensive to
speaking of
park.
parking at university is crazy.
I'm not
I think
gonna
that's a
talk
whole
about
other topic.
That's,
in
that
Yeah,
is,
itself.
that is
another topic.
transportation related. The cost of parking in this stupid town. The other thing I was going to say about the ferries is they no longer take debit, which is ridiculous. What if you don't have a credit card and you usually just use debit? And suddenly they're like, yeah, no, actually we don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
So-
why would you stop taking debit?
So
like
they-
exactly
My
Should
mom
they set up
actually works
debit
for
or
BC
credit
Ferries,
card?
and she was saying they were having a lot of technical problems with it because apparently, I guess BC Ferries doesn't know how to conform to the same standards that thousands of other retailers conform to. I don't know, but
They did
apparently it
for
was a technical
years.
thing.
It's ridiculous.
So will they take credit card or just
Yeah,
cash?
credit card and
Credit
cash.
Credit card and cash, which
But no
leads me
debit.
to an interesting story. Of when I was traveling in Vancouver, and coming back from it, a buddy of mine and me took the ferry over on the Friday. We're in Vancouver for a couple of days and then came back on Sunday. When we took the ferry over, we learned that they didn't accept debit, which was kind of a shock to us. But anyway, we got through that. So on the way back, we decided that we were going to pay for our ferry fare in change. And it just so happened that he had a car door full of loonies and toonies and other miscellaneous change from about the past 8 months to a year of going through drive-thrus and just chucking change in there. So $82 and some odd change we paid for the ferry fare in change. And unfortunately the person wasn't as angry with us as we were hoping for. The clerk there was actually really happy because she was running out of change and she needed some. But anyway, that's my ferry change story.
Now that I know I can't use debit, I realize I'm going to have to, because if I want to take a road trip, I'm going to have to pay with credit or cash.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is annoying.
Screw that. Screw BC Ferries. I'm taking a figurative stand and saying, fuck it, I'm using my debit card.
You can't.
I know!
Learn
That's
to
the
take
worst
boating
part.
lessons and then drive your own
You should,
boat back and
I
go
can
forth.
already
just
do
outside
that.
the ferry terminal.
I
He
have
has
my
boating lessons.
boating
He's
lessons.
just never driven a boat.
I know, isn't that awesome? I've never driven a boat before.
I'm
have
sort
my
of under the
license.
impression that getting your boating license isn't very difficult.
No.
No, 8-hour course.
Yeah,
That's all it took. Didn't you take one that was like 2 4-hour courses over a weekend or something? Or?
I don't have my boating license.
Oh, I thought.
No.
Okay. Well, I actually got mine from sitting in a chair, listening to a guy talk, and sleeping.
So did they quiz you or anything?
Yep. I
Okay.
got 98% on my quiz, and I've never driven a boat, and I didn't read any of the stuff, and I didn't even
Well,
Most of
listen.
it's common sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
Do you
Well, there's
go
like
in
3
front
rules,
of this
right?
boat? No.
If you're too close, what the? Why? There's
You
just like
cut
3
in front
rules
of
you
people
actually need to
paddling.
learn. It's actually like
No.
there's 3 rules you need to remember. Rule number 1 is red on right when returning. So as long as you drive with the red buoys on your right, you're
When
right.
Into a harbor, yeah.
Yeah, into a harbor, and when you're out on the water, don't get too close to the other boat.
Mhm.
It's-
You also have to know right of way. Who has the right of way?
I don't remember any of that stuff, and I somehow got 96,
Actually,
98% on my guess.
I listen to the Coast Guard Marine Traffic Channel on my scanner a lot.
I'm gonna get
and
arrested if I
there's-
ever drive a boat.
There's a lot of people that you just hear a lot of calls going out with the guys driving the big freighters saying, "What the hell are you doing?" As these little boats go zipping out in front of them
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
It's kind of like the bicyclists.
Or
in
you could just
traffic.
not go near the shipping.
Yeah.
Well, but people don't seem to understand that there are shipping lanes.
Yeah.
See, I don't know what the shipping lanes are, but I do know enough to know that if I stay on a certain side of the island, I don't actually go anywhere near the big shipments.
But you don't know what side of that island is.
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay,
Inside
that's good.
side? The side that isn't shipping to a bunch of places.
If you stay away from all the marine bases, you're not in any of the shipping lanes.
Yeah.
So as long as you go on the Sydney side and you avoid ferries, you're fine.
Yeah.
That's it. That's honestly it. If you stay away from that side of the island, it doesn't matter. And that's where all the best fishing is anyways, in the Wannafuke Strait. So if you want to go fishing, go
The
to that
fish
side,
like the
go to
quiet
Sydney, and
activity.
go over there, and go to the Sydney Spit area. There's no shipment lines. Go out in the direction of, I don't remember what the harbor is. I think it's Deep Cove or something like that. And you're
Okay.
fine. Anywhere in the Wannafuke Strait, there's no shipment lanes. Why? There's no room!
I think we're a little off topic.
A little bit.
Anyway, the point
Oh,
is
yeah.
public transit. Apparently,
I-
taking his figurative
I
stand.
have one more fun bus story to share.
Oh
Oh, I
boy,
got
fun
lots.
bus stories.
Riding the bus from Langford to Victoria into town. I did this for 6 months on a co-op job. I was working out in Langford, living in Victoria. First of all, it's terrible, but that's not like the scheduling is just
That's
horrible.
it.
There's
Yeah.
one bus. Well, there's supposed to be
Well, it
3
sounds like
buses.
every
2 of them
single
would
bus
never
ever.
show up, and there would be one single-decker bus going between Langford and Victoria. Terrible. Anyway, this one day, the double-decker bus actually showed up for a change, so it was looking like a great day. So I'm sitting there at the front of the bus, minding my own business happily, and we stop, and the bus driver goes on the PA and says, "Sorry, we've got mechanical difficulties. We're going to have to let the engine cool down for a few minutes." So I'm swearing, along with everyone else on the bus, and all of a sudden, these 3 cop cars pull up and surround the bus.
Oh.
And a bunch of cops get on the bus and pull 2 guys off the back of the bus and arrest them. Turns out they had robbed a liquor store in Langford with a big hunting knife and decided to use public transit as their getaway vehicle. So
Wow.
it was not mechanical difficulties, it was they needed to stop so they could arrest these guys. It was around that time that I realized public transit was not a good place to be. That's
Well,
my,
yeah,
why I
there was
have
that
a car.
case of the bus driver getting stabbed, I think.
That's probably a
that
Toronto
seems to
thing.
happen in Vancouver a lot. Bus
Yeah.
drivers getting beaten up or stabbed.
There's also the whole
or-
fact that, did you guys know that in Ontario they actually have cages around the bus drivers? That's how
Yeah,
many
I've
bus
heard
drivers
about-
get
yeah.
assaulted every year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy people. And there are some crazy passengers on the bus. I should know, I'm one of them.
You're one of those people everybody goes like, ew.
It's actually kind of nice, because then I don't have people sitting beside me and getting bad vibes, or you hear their crappy music.
I used to be one of those
I don't know why
people
people
that's-
need to feel the
yeah.
need to talk to you on the bus.
Yes, that's the worst one.
Or like they stand right in front of the back doors when there's room to get out of my
like
way.
you can
And
go. You can
what
go
I
off
find
to
is
the
there's
area
a
at the back of the
stereotype.
bus.
Most of
It's
them
like,
seem to be
we're not in
Asians.
Israel. Someone's not going to bomb the bus. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That just happened.
well, apparently, I've heard that in Israel, the militants, if they're going to bomb the bus, they usually head towards the back.
That makes sense.
Blow up the
That's where the gas tank is.
Yeah.
And everything else now that I really think about it.
Well, I had a totally unrelated story to death and murder and stuff.
Throw it in.
But it has to do with Langford.
Okay.
Everything
so,
awesome happens in Langford.
oh god, Langford. So I live in Langford, so waiting for the bus to come to the exchange, which should be, you know, pretty frequent. And when it arrives, it should be on time because that's where it starts. If it's starting late, you've got a problem.
Yes.
But, so I'd be waiting. This has happened multiple times. I'll just be waiting at the bus stop, at the exchange, where the bus starts. And I'll be waiting, and it'll be about time for the bus to come. Be a little late by now. Okay, now there's a bus. Pulled up. Okay. Oh yeah, that says 50. Okay, I'll go get on the bus. Get on the bus. Wait. Driver turns off the engine. Wait. Another bus pulls up behind us. I'm like, okay, that's got to be like the 61 or something else, or it's got to be leaving after.
and
that
it leaves.
bus pulls on and leaves.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me you weren't leaving? Why did you let me on your bus?
Oh, I know.
This has happened so
I
many
find that so
times.
often at the terminal at UVic too, especially the 26. It's like so. It's like you kind of gotta wait and just be prepared.
Your
It's just
timing
like,
needs to be really good.
I just go to the second stop now. I don't go to the first
Yeah,
stop anymore.
yeah. It's just you're better to wait because then people go in and then suddenly it's like when you see another bus, it's like, oh crap, I can't even get out of my seat now. There's 2 A.M. people.
My Langford bus story also originates about 3 stops down from the Langford Exchange, which is where they start. These are the 2 buses that never show up. Get off work at 4:30. It's supposed to be a bus at 4:40. That one never shows up. Next bus is supposed to be at 5 o'clock. That one sometimes shows up, and the next one shows up at 5:15, and it's literally 2 stops away from the exchange. And I don't understand how a bus cannot. Does it get lost? Okay. Actually, another funny radio scanner story. I was listening to the Transit Dispatch channel one day, and they lost one of their buses. They literally lost one of their buses.
How do you lose a bus?
It was an 83 or something like that, and they just broadcast out. They said, "Would the driver of the 83 bus number blah 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 please call in? We're attempting to locate you." How do you lose a bus?
Wow.
I don't remember if they found it or not, but I'm hoping they did.
That's funny.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I'm more surprised that they lost it in the first place, if I was going to be completely
Yeah.
honest.
Not sure how that happens.
I had another story that has to do with Vancouver. So I moved to Vancouver in September. And
That was your first mistake.
well, I moved for school. I had to.
Yeah.
So I got there just about when the rain was starting, and luckily there was a fairly convenient bus about 10 minutes from my house that went straight to university. And it was usually sort of kind of on time-ish if it wasn't full. If it wasn't
It
full.
was very vague.
Yeah, so it was pretty convenient. It had a shelter to keep me out of the rain and a bench. Around October, maybe November, they decided they were going to upgrade this stop. They took out the shelter. Then they took out the bench. Then they put in another shelter. A few months later, no bench. So yeah, now you're just standing, sort of kind of almost in the rain. No seat. But for months of the rain, there was no shelter because they decided that was
the
the
worst
perfect
possible time to do it, yeah.
to upgrade. And it looked no different after. It was just a different style. It was no more functional.
Why bother?
It's a waste of money and it's inconvenient for the people trying to use it.
We
There
gotta
was
bear
this-
in mind, TransLink thinks it's rich.
The very next stop, though,
It's
was
not.
just a bench. No shelter. Nothing. Why didn't they just put the new shelter over there?
Because they thought
Yeah.
that was the one that had the problem. The one that was already convenient.
Well, yeah,
For
so
the
they stop
longest
using
time.
certain stops, so then they take everything out of there, and then you just get this blank slate.
For the longest time,
Concrete.
on the number 6 route, going from downtown north, there was no stops with shelters on the right-hand side of the street for about 5 kilometers. There was a shelter every other stop on the other side of the street. This is one side, not a single shelter for about 5 kilometers. I have no idea why. Eventually, in the last couple of years, they started putting them in, but
Ran out of money the last time they were
I
doing
guess
the
so.
shelters.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Weird.
I hate the bus.
And then they cut off certain stops, so now it's not as convenient to get off at certain
They're trying to make
places.
it more efficient
It's not really efficient for me, because I'd have to
by taking out all the
get
bus
off and
stops.
then walk back a few steps.
I'm really glad I have a car.
The
North American
advantages of
culture
transport.
revolves quite heavily around the fact that people like to use their cars more than they like to take the bus.
It's true.
If the bus was more efficient,
We'd be
maybe
more
people-
inclined to take
yeah.
it.
we
Yeah.
would probably
And everybody's all like, "Oh, stop driving your car, take public transit." It's like, ah,
Improve
No,
the
no,
service.
better yet,
No.
they say, oh, take a bicycle. Well, the
Have
problem
you tried to
is
ride
in
your
our
bike from
culture-
Victoria to Langford before? Has
Well,
anybody
that,
tried?
I
It's a
haven't
pain in
tried.
the ass. I worked there.
Well,
and
if
it
you're
just
on the Galloping
sucks.
Goose Trail, it's fine.
No, it's still a stupid distance.
Well, I mean,
to
it's
go.
funny
I
because
rode that.
essentially-
for
I've ridden it
3
too,
months.
but
I
hate
can
it.
walk home from my place to campus in roughly an hour, a bit over. And usually the bus takes that long. That's how I plan my classes. But when I catch the buses on time,
Yeah, there's,
like,
there's something
6
wrong when
and then
it's quicker to
26,
walk for an hour than
and
take
then
the bus. Like, there's something
it's half an
inherently
hour.
wrong
So
with
it's like,
that.
okay, I have the hope of taking the bus, which is usually an hour, to get the hopes of, oh, it'll be half an hour. Or I could just walk. So half the time when it's evening classes, I'm not waiting for the friggin' bus.
Anyway,
I'm
I
just
think
gonna
Amber
walk.
was trying to say
Yeah.
something
Oh.
about bicycles.
Yes. I don't understand.
Oh, people that take their bikes in the bus, right?
Well, no, that's
Those are
fine.
the worst.
Whatever.
No,
You put
no.
them on the front of the bus, not in the bus.
Oh no, I'm talking about the people that actually bring their bikes onto the
Well,
bus.
people are
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
not what
yeah,
I'm
I
talking
gotta
about. So,
Anyway, keep going.
bike lanes, there's some places, but when they're not there, the bikes are just supposed to go on the road. Doesn't it make more sense to have them go on a sidewalk?
Yeah.
Because it's significantly less dangerous for a bike to hit a pedestrian
Than
than
a
a car
car to hit a bike.
a bike. I
And a
don't
pedestrian.
understand.
Well, some of the bicyclists are so stupid that you think they need to be
Cyclists, but yeah, they're all stupid.
Not all of them.
The ones that take the
most of
back
them.
roads and take those.
Well, the ones that weave in and out, because I heard
Oh, I
my
hate
Yeah.
those guys.
parents
I just.
rant about that, and I thought, oh, okay, that's where I get my ranting jeans from.
The worst ones are when you're going on a drive to wherever it is you gotta go, but
Single lane back roads.
Yeah.
And there's a bike in the middle of
in
the
the
road.
middle of the road, and they're doing 20 kilometers per hour because they
And
can't.
you're just like, "Guys,
You're just like,
It's like you're
understand
walking
you.
on the sidewalk and you
my
have,
car
like,
is
that
a standard.
old
It
lady
is
with
going
the
to stall driving behind you. You
Yeah.
stupid cyclist.
I understand that you think you're going fast, but my car can go significantly faster. So please.
And it's
move
also
the fuck
bigger
over.
and heavier, and I will kill you. So get out of my way, or I will kill you.
Yeah, it's like those old ladies.
And
on
this
the
is how road
sidewalk
rage
with
happens.
Those moped cart.
I
things
suffer
where
from
they're
a
so
very,
big.
very, 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 very mild case of anger management issues. As everybody knows, I have a violent
Mild.
tendency, apparently.
We all have
Road
violent
rage is very
tendencies.
common
You're just the most open
For
about
me,
it.
I get really angry at a lot
We
of
both
stupid
get
people.
really angry.
But it's
Us
actually
driving
really
together
entertaining to
is
watch either of us
terrible.
driving, because if one of us isn't swearing at somebody for being stupid, the other is. It doesn't
you
matter
know
which
what?
one of us
You
is
know what
driving.
takes me off about buses too is some of the people that use the buses are really freaking lazy. Like they're a rental kid.
Oh, the
And-
people that get on the bus, ride it for 2 stops, and get off. What?
Yeah.
The, like, it
Yeah,
literally
you
would
love
be
the
quicker
point.
for you to
Okay,
walk those 2
Like
stops.
when I was taking
What is
when
wrong?
I'm
This
taking
is
the
why you're
Cedar
so
Hill
fat.
bus, there's these Reynolds kids. They get on the
What?
stop I do, and then they get off at the
What?
school, and it's like I walked from
Like,
my
yes.
house. I walked, and I enjoyed it
Why
because I
are
had a
you
little
taking-
me time. I didn't have to put up with people's shit on the bus.
Beat
And
you
then-
into
and
the
then people-
freaking
then
ground,
people-
you lazy son of a bitch!
It's okay, Chris. I feel your pain.
We've ridden the
Um,
bus for one stop before.
Pouring rain in Vancouver.
Yeah, like weather conditions, okay. And even snow, it's like, well, then why get on the
I
bus
do.
at all?
I don't understand.
Like these people that they get on the terminal at UVic and then they get off at the Ian Stewart, and it's like you could just walk it. It's like 10, 15 minutes. There's your
Not
exercise.
even.
There's your
Not
warm up.
even.
There,
Yeah,
and then
if
you
you're
can
going
go to the
exercise
gym.
Anyway.
Yeah, why take the bus? If you're going
Yeah,
swimming
people that
or
take the
going
bus to go to the gym. What?
I do, but it
Well,
takes me an
depends how
hour.
far.
And I don't
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
I used to
walk.
ride my bike. Okay, back in the time before I had a car, I used to ride my bike to soccer practice.
A
that
dog.
made sense to me,
It was
right?
close.
Well, I was
Well,
too
it
far
was
away
kind
from
of
my
your warm
field,
up,
right?
because in soccer you're doing
Exactly. You
running,
go
so-
for a lot of runs, and people would see me ride up on my bike, and they're like, "Dude, you're crazy." I was also one of the fastest guys on the field. Go figure.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing, right? When you have soccer practice in the middle of nowhere, there's no buses that go that way. You have to wait for a car. Here's my question: if we have communities that are in remote locations, can we develop a bus route that
Yes.
gets us there,
Please. Like,
or at least a more frequent one? I mean, Langford's the worst, right?
No.
Getting into
Langford is not the
Souk is
worst.
significantly worse, and
North Saanich
Brentwood
is
Bay.
horrible.
Brentwood Bay is terrible.
Brentwood Bay is okay if you get to Sydney first, but you have to go to Sydney first. They have a community bus. But you have to go to Sydney first.
Yeah, the other alternative
Sydney and Brentwood Bay are
is-
not that
There's
close
so
together.
many
Yeah.
communities in Victoria. Why can't it all just be called Victorian?
That
What's
could
in the
actually
area?
be another topic.
That is another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we need is more frequent buses.
I want a
and more
SkyTrain.
route.
Can we get a
It'll
SkyTrain
never
in
happen.
Victoria?
We're talking about putting in a gondola system.
I would ride that once.
Do that.
Well, they're talking about doing that
long as
by
it's not
the
expensive
cruise
as
ships,
the
where the
ones
cruise
in
ships come
Venice.
in to keep the cruise ship traffic out of our area, because there's so
Oh,
many stupid
oh.
tourists.
Yeah, that's a totally different topic again. Is stupid people on the bus that are tourists? They're just like,
Well, they're not necessarily stupid. They just
No, they are
completely
Some are
clueless.
stupid.
they got on and it's like, does this bus go places? No, it doesn't. It just sits here. It's just for
my
photographs and
favorite.
for show.
My favorite. You mean I have to pay?
Oh yeah.
Although I find if you don't know the area very well and you know you have to get off a certain area and
Oh,
the
creepy people at bus stops is another
stops
fun one.
there, and you ask the bus driver, okay, can you just let me know so that I know to get off there, and then I can kind of see
Yeah.
it and kind of pick up and learn it visually. Sometimes they'll forget and they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, you
That
know,
was
or
your
they
stop.
won't say anything at all, and then you're like, oh shit. And
That
it's
would have
just
been
like-
my stop right there.
Yeah.
By my stop.
My favorite one is creepy people at the bus stop. The best story I have, I was in grade 12, and I just came from a band practice, so I was waiting for the 6 to come home. So I bussed back to Reynolds, and I was waiting for the 6, and a woman told me apparently that I had a beautiful body and I could be a model if I wanted to be. And I'm like,
Thank you. I'm gonna go wait at this bus stop now.
It's
I'm
scary when strangers give
uncomfortable.
you compliments, isn't it?
It wasn't only that, it was the fact that she had yellow eyes. Not red, not regular colored, yellow.
Yeah.
I don't know what she was on. But you know, creepy person being that upfront with you with that kind of glazed expression and yellow eyes telling you could be a model.
Yep.
All you want to feel like is, I just want to go jump in front of the bus when it shows up so I can get killed now.
That's when you just walk to the next stop.
Well, see, I can't do that though, because when you're waiting for the 6A, and you're waiting for a very specific bus, because you can't catch the 6 or the 6B, and half the time the 6A is very full.
But would you rather be inconvenienced minorly or die?
In this
Or
case,
be eaten.
in this case, I ended up choosing to be inconvenienced because I'm just like
What I
I'm
used
too
to
tired
do
to
with
walk
the
to the
Sixes,
next
because they
stop.
had so many frequent stops, is I used to run and then see if the bus was coming, and then if it was coming, then I jumped
used to
to
do
the
that
next
too.
stop.
Yeah,
But
I-
now the buses are so sparse.
Yeah,
it's
they're so
not as
far
easily
apart,
done.
it's like 3
Actually, I
blocks
find it's
between
easier
each
just to
one.
frickin'
Walk.
sprint half/walk to Quadrant Mackenzie, and then I catch the 26, and then I go back, and then I walk, and then I find, okay, I listen to my music, I get a little bit more me chillax time. And then
One thing I found bad is a phone call for me.
Ring, ring,
Ah, we'll
ring,
leave it
ring.
for now.
Banana.
It's probably
Oh.
better.
gonna pull
Don't do it. Okay, so
Segue time.
I guess we can
segue
segue
time.
into song of the week here.
No, not
Song of the Week.
It's Christmas.
Aw.
See, and with the camera, if
Coca-Cola.
it can zoom in,
It's the camera can't
Santa-
zoom in.
Coke
It's
Santa.
Santa, this one right here. It's
there. He's got a little bottle and a little pipe. There you go. Enjoy.
So that's
Anyway.
Kyle.
that's Kyle,
Yeah,
the Santa
so-
Claus.
It's yes, and yeah. So all three of you guys open it. There's
Why are
for
we
each of
doing
you.
this on the
3 of us open
podcast?
it.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Ooh, chocolate.
Look at that chocolate.
Amber,
That says my
Liam,
name.
Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Mikhail.
Thank you,
Merry
Mikhail.
Christmas,
Mikhail's
everyone.
very kind, everybody. He's a very nice person. We're not so bad.
Okay.
I mean,
There we go.
I mean, at this point, it would be fine time to segue into song of the week. I mean, we were talking about this
So
in
we
the
can
music.
cue interlude Christmas music while we come up for decisions for Christmas songs.
Well, no, I-
I'm
Or
pretty
we
sure.
go right through it. I'm sure we all have choices.
I know what I'd like to
Who
do.
wants to go? Someone go.
Well, I'll go first.
Okay.
So, I was at work with one of my coworkers, and he and I were doing our usual crazy weirdness banter. To anybody who's seen the television show Metalocalypse, you might be familiar with Pickles the drummer and Nathan Explosion. He does a really good Nathan Explosion. I gotta say, I do a really good Pickles the drummer. Despite the fact that Nathan's a bit of a douchebag sometimes. Sorry about the douchebag, I got low blood sugar. Anyway, getting back to the main point of this. That's a Pickles the drummer's voice. Anyway, the point being, he and I are both really into metal. So, he played me some stuff off of this album by a group called Dream Theater, and it reminded me of the first song I'd ever heard by them. So, for my song of the week this week, I'm going to do Pull Me Under by Dream Theater.
Lost in the sky, clouds roll by and I roll with them. Arrows fly, seas increase and then fall again. This world is spinning around me. This world is spinning without me, and every day since future past, everywhere.
Well, seeing as how we're going in no particular order this week, I'll go next. And being as this is our last show for 2013, and
weird.
looking towards the new year, I'm going to choose the traditional New Year's song, Old Lang Syne, as my song of the week.
Oh, like sign going there.
Throwing it out
This is
there,
a blast
whatever.
from the past.
Do you want to go next?
Who wants to
or
go
should
next
I?
to?
I wonder if the side still.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Well, thing is, I know what I want to pick, but I cannot remember the name of it. So
Liam's done that several times.
do you remember the name of that Mongol Horde song? The first one we listened to is like "Threats from a Homeless Man" or something like that. Casual threats from a homeless something.
Yeah,
Somebody
it's a
pull up the
song.
laptop and look it up.
It's a song by a band called
Mongol Horde.
Yeah, you know what? You could always do the tapeworm
I don't want to
story.
do Natalie Portman's tapeworm. I want to do casual
Threats from a homeless guy or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll
something
go with
Well,
casual.
we'll figure out the name,
We'll figure
and
it
we'll
out.
put it up on screen, and we'll play the clip.
Okay, but I got a little story to go with this. So, one of my favorite musicians is a man by the name of Frank Turner. And he plays, he's very English. He plays very, like, folky,
Indie
sort
pop,
of indie
soundy
pop
stuff.
stuff. A little bit of rock sometimes, but yeah, very, very folky. And I was listening to the radio, and they played a song I love by him that I may or may not have already used as Song of the Week. And then they casually remarked that he used to be part of a hardcore band called Million Dead. And then they disbanded, and he did his solo stuff, and I was like, he was in a what now? And then they followed this up with, and then he decided he missed screaming at people on stage.
So
So he
formed a-
started a three-piece band by the name of Mongol Horde, and here's a sample, and I'm like, he is screaming! This is not him singing!
Yeah,
What
the
is
dude-
he doing?
The dude actually
And
is
it's
pretty
amazing.
metal. So
Oh yeah,
He's
it's pretty
going.
great. So he's great at apparently everything he does, and yeah, here's Mongol Horde.
I find something with my little eye, walking dead man, a walking dead man. If you look at my back just one more time, then you're a dead man, you're a dead man. If you smell my drink cause you walk off, I'm gonna cut you, I'm gonna cut you. And if you do so much as me, I'll fucking end you, I'll fucking end you. What more would last go errand? More casual threats to the weekend harvest. More casual threats to the weekend.
It's going to be pretty tough to follow that up.
I know, it's like
really wish we
like-
had that song title right now. It's like
It's got two medals and
and something classic.
Go for it. Choose something.
Go metal.
3, 2, 1.
okay, I'll go metal. I'll go metal. I'll go
Yeah, this show's turning metal.
Yeah. Which album?
3, 2, 1. Choice.
Okay, I'll go for this one, and it's "The Will to Live" by the all-metal female band Kitty.
To
or something.
All metal
Alright.
female band. I gotta hear this band. I might actually listen to everybody's song of the week this week. Except for, well, I've heard Christmas.
Whoa. Everybody's heard
It doesn't have death growls though, not this one song, but they do death growls.
Well, I think about it, Unleash the Archers is pretty good too. Anyway,
Alright.
So that's that.
That's our week.
yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. Tune in next year.
Which will really be next week.
Yeah, but it'll be probably released in
Everyone was excited. They thought we were going away for a year.
Aww.
All our 5 viewers.
We're all 5 of them, aren't we? There's
We're
only
Pro tip, I never watch them once they're on YouTube, so there's someone else.
I watched
No one cares.
I never
Anyway.
really watched them.
You watch them whenever
I watched them with him, so 1 view.
Anyway, yeah, we digress.
Alright.
Have a happy New Year. Have a happy Christmas.
holidays,
feel like we
whatever
should
you
have
celebrate.
cameras, I don't know which way to look.
Anyways,
So many cameras!
goodbye everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.